Hello and welcome everyone to a new episode of the Wildcat Way Show. I am Carrie Eve Valance. As you know, the Wildcat Way Show is a YouTube channel and podcast that reflects our motto here at Pearl River Community College of living the Wildcat Way with pride, respect, class, and character. And our guest today not only demonstrated those qualities during his time here at PRCC, he's now bringing those qualities to his new leadership role at USM. Lucas Williams, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thanks for the invite.
Yeah, Lucas and I have really gotten to know each other this past semester. You've been interning for us with the Marketing and Communications Department. He is literally single-handedly taking all of our jobs. The stuff that the six of us do, he can do in one day, and he's just so impressive. Lucas, can you share with us a little bit about your time here at the River while you were a student?
I think my time at the River was probably some of the most fundamental years. Mm-hmm. I know it was a big time for me. I was transitioning out of high school, coming to college, to all these new experiences. And when I got here, one of the first things I remembered is my transition going from elementary to middle school. And I was like, wow, look at this place. You know?
Yeah.
And then I get here and I'm like, yeah, this is that times 10. Mm-hmm. You got all these different people, not even from the same state, mm-hmm. That you've just never seen before. And so many just people from different socioeconomic classes, races, religions, and it was a lot to take in, mm-hmm. But it was so exciting because I think we just had so much fun in the process, getting to learn about all these different people, learn about all these things that we were not used to in our little bubble. Mm-hmm. So it was a good time for me to grow,
right?
And not just dive headfirst into something. Mm-hmm. It was a nice transitioning sweet spot, I would say.
Why don't you share with the audience a little bit of the things you were involved in while you were here at the River?
While I was here, I think one of the very first things I got involved with was resident life. I was an RA, mm-hmm. and it was something I really enjoyed. It was kind of like the first leadership roles that I took on coming at Pearl River. And then from there, I went into SGA, and I served in 2 positions there. Mm-hmm. And then I was with VSU a lot.
Right.
I was also Mr. PRCC while I was here, mm-hmm. My last year. And those are just things that took a lot of my time, but I enjoyed. I was also a member of the Voices, PRCC Singers, mm-hmm. And I just kept my hands full, mm-hmm. With activities all the time.
And don't you think that's a really important part of the college experience, right? Kind of letting yourself be free and get to know exactly what it is that holds your interest and what you're willing to do.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like in the college system, the number one way to succeed is mm-hmm. by being involved. Mm-hmm. It's not only for yourself. And when I say being involved, organizations, they're great, but being involved with your professors and your classes and different things, there were many times where I've gotten really close with some of those professors because of our involvement through conversation, and that was helpful, mm-hmm. Not only for an academic standpoint of things, but also a networking way. There's a lot of professors that I still keep in contact with that we know in passing through different people. Mm-hmm. So I really think being involved in as many ways as you can handle mm-hmm. Is important, but also don't be afraid to take that leap. A lot of people are fearful that, I don't know if I can handle that. Well, you won't know until you ever try. And there's nothing wrong with saying, this is a bit much for me.
Right.
Let me try again later.
Absolutely. Now, what is it that made you make your choice to come here to PRCC?
Well, for me, I initially wanted to go dive in headfirst to a 4-year institution. I wanted to go somewhere completely far away from home. Mm-hmm. I'm a native from Picayune, so I was like, man, the furthest place, the better.
Right.
But being that young, I didn't take into consideration a lot of the things that are important when you're trying to select a college. Mm-hmm. And it was because of my mother. She kind of brought those things to light for me. Whereas, okay, are you looking at tuition costs? Are you mm-hmm. looking at if there was something that you needed to come home for? Is that a far commute? Right. And then also with the university system, and I said this was a lot, mm-hmm. that's even bigger.
Absolutely.
You're talking thousands upon thousands more students mm-hmm. and a lot more things right there at your fingertips that you necessarily may not be ready for. Right. I know for me, I used Pearl River as a essential transitioning point. Mm-hmm. And I think I was glad that it was brought on the table that mm-hmm. have you considered Pearl River? Because it was really one of my last things on my mind, but one of the best choices that I made.
The future of industry is right at your fingertips, here within Pearl River Community College's career and technical education programs.
You will become specialized in the skilled trades, applied sciences, modern technologies, and career preparation that will propel you to a position of power within your chosen field. Pearl River's CTE programs are fine-tuned to provide students with hands-on training and the skills necessary to succeed in the labor market. Technical education contributes a major share to the overall education system and plays a vital role in the social and economic development of our community and entire country. PRCC students will get opportunities for career success at our 4 convenient locations and will be trained to not only seamlessly enter the workforce, they'll succeed. Visit prcc.edu to register.
Made.
Now, you are very involved with everything at USM, especially Student Government Association. Share with us exactly what it is that you're doing now at the University of Southern Mississippi.
I was just elected the new student body president for Southern Miss, so that's a really exciting role for me to carry, and it's also a very prestigious and a role that carries a lot of weight that you really can't prepare for. I represent 15,000 students among the administration, so to me, being that the student body entrusted me with this role was really humbling. It was also exciting, but it was also scary. That, you know, these people are relying on me, and not just one type of person, not 2, not 3, thousands of different types of people that I have to represent and I have to address and advocate for. So for me, that is one of my biggest things that I'm involved in now. Being in that role, it's one of my priorities that I serve in. But through that position, I get to work with our university administration, Dr. Bennett, president of the university, firsthand, and student affairs, and dean of students, and a lot of these different areas, and have a lot of contacts to all these different people now. While also still trying to make myself accessible to the student body.
Now, how could you say that Pearl River prepared you for your current position now?
Well, it all starts from, like I said before, the fundamentalness that this place had. I know for myself personally, if I would have jumped into a place like Southern Miss, I probably wouldn't have been as successful just because of my personal mindset. At the time, I needed some more growing and some more maturity, and through that, and I will say that Pearl River gave me the first steps to that, kind of making me aware of simple things like, how do you talk to people? How do you send an email? You know, those are complete basics for the role that I have now, but more so, how do you interact with a lot of different people? And through that, you figure out, well, if I know how to interact with them, I know how to talk with them, I can know how to represent them. You know?
Now, you are really a standout for us, as far as I know, from a success story of our students, just really being able to come, like you said, you're a graduate of Picayune High School, come to Pearl River and finish up here, and then go to USM. I mean, to be able to be the one that represents 15,000 people in the Student Government Association, that's really an incredible accomplishment. How do you kind of take that all in, that you're the one who represents them on day to day?
I'm still taking it in. I will say, COVID has pushed a lot of things to the side, but fortunately, you know, so many things are back for us.
Yeah,
so,
it's happening now.
Coming into the role, I was fortunate enough to get some of those same pleasures prior to COVID, but it's like every day, you know, we're in senior leadership meetings, IHL meetings, council meetings, so it's very busy, and sometimes I sit in these meetings and I leave out, and it's, you know, issues and praises are going on in these meetings. It's still a lot to take in that I'm sitting at this table, you know.
Well, it is well deserved. I can say that.
Thank you.
Especially being able to work with you for these past few months. I've seen how diligently you have worked on our projects and how passionately you take everything that is brought to you. And this is a man that really takes everything to heart, and when he's considering doing anything, he puts 100% of himself into it. Lucas, what would you say to a high school senior today who is considering coming to the river rather than jumping in to a four-year institution?
Don't look at it as a I will say starting college is fun. It's a fun experience.
Sure.
But ultimately, you have to always keep at the forefront, like, why you're going. To me, don't be afraid to be the one that is going to a smaller institution.
Right.
One thing about being a mature adult, because in college that's what you are, is understanding your strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
And once you identify those and you know, like, this might be the better option for me, don't be afraid. You know, if it's necessary, do it. To me, I will say, to me, not only did I need it, but I think these were probably some of the best years of my life. Getting to interact with all these new friends that I made and all these new roles and all the networking that I did, and I honestly wouldn't change it for anything else. And through that, you can always go to the university somewhere else. And, you know, also the one thing you want to take into effect is pursuing a higher education and a degree that you want is costly. And you have to make sure that you're financially able and ready for that. Because that's a thing that I think a lot of high school seniors at that stage in your life, you're still not taking any of that. You know, most of your parents are still paying your bills. You know, you're just, you know, going out having a good time, interacting with your friends. Whereas when you get here, you don't want it to be a huge shock to you that this is my list of priorities.
Absolutely.
Can I handle that?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Lucas, for joining us today on the Wildcat Way Show. I'm sure we will continue to hear wonderful things about your successes in the future. I'm just so proud of you, and I'm so glad I get to call you a friend and a colleague, and I can't wait to see what you do. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Wildcat Way Show. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter, and like our podcast on iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify, and Stitcher. And as always, continue to live your life the Wildcat way.